example at this right here first. Please come here first, because you know what? We're going to help you.
We're going to make our country very safe. We're going to make our cities very, very safe. Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent, and we'll straighten that one out probably next. That'll be our next one after this, and it won't even be tough. And the people in Chicago, Mr. Vice President, are screaming for us to come. They're wearing red hats.
The president has always been intimidated by the intellectual prowess of black men. And so, of course, he would speak in those petite and puerile terms.
That's just some of the debate over public safety in the city of Chicago and beyond. Welcome in. It's Illinois in Focus Daily with the Center Square. Go to thecentersquare.com and you can find this headline: Trump plans to clean up Democrat-run cities over local objections. Clearly something that's going to be dominating headlines as you see National Guard on the streets of Washington, D.C. to go after public safety there. But Friday, the president was talking in the Oval Office about a big European football tournament coming to the United States, I believe in L.A., and they're focused on public safety. But also, this comes about 2 weeks or so after Trump ordered the National Guard to help with public safety in Washington, D.C. So that's where we're at here with this conversation. I'm Greg Bishop. You can join us each and every weekday morning here live for Illinois in Focus Daily. Get the podcast where you get podcasts, but also don't forget, if you want this headline and others free in your inbox, go to thecentersquare.com, click on newsletter, fill out the info. It is free, and you will get these headlines and more, especially from Illinois as well. We're a nonprofit newswire service, so we also greatly appreciate any donations. But let's get to it, all right? So President Trump in the Oval Office discussing, economic activity with, soccer tournaments coming to the United States. And he also went on to say that, hey, we're going to be starting to clean up other cities as well.
Also, we're going to make our country very safe. We're going to make our cities very, very safe. Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent, and we'll straighten that one out probably next. That'll be our next one after this, and it won't even be tough. And the people in Chicago, Mr. Vice President, are screaming for us to come. They're wearing red hats, just like this one, but they're wearing red hats. African-American ladies, beautiful ladies, are saying, please, President Trump, come to Chicago. Please. I did great with the black vote, as you know, and they want something to happen. So I think Chicago will be our next.
So back in December, this is after the election, it's clear that President Donald Trump's going to get a second non-consecutive term. You had the city of Chicago City Council meet and a slew of residents taking to the microphone during public comments, sharing their thoughts. And at this time, the real focus was the illegal immigration that was pretty profound during the Biden administration over the 4 years there, with 14 million. I think President Trump says it's upwards of 21 million people who cross the border illegally, not through a legal port of entry, but crossing the border illegally. So, there was a big concern there, but the public safety aspect also very important. But back in December, you had residents in Chicago stand up and share their thoughts.
Trump, Tom Homan, make an example at this Negro right here first. Please come here first, because you know what? We're going to help you. We want a forensic.
Ma'am, I would ask that you keep your, hold on a second, stop her time.
You told Trump you ain't gonna blink? Well, we ain't either. You ain't above the law, and where you gonna run to when Trump pours that Trump card out on you?
There's a 10-year prison sentence when you want to stand up here for those illegals.
So again, that was back in December, Trump saying that people in Chicago are screaming for him to come to the city and clean up the city. Trump was asked again Friday if he's had any conversation with Chicago city officials.
He said Chicago might be next. Are you making, have there been concrete steps that the administration is taking to do that? Or what are other cities as well?
I haven't spoken to the mayor. He's grossly incompetent. I haven't spoken to the mayor. No, when we're ready, we'll go in and we'll straighten out Chicago, just like we did D.C. Chicago is very dangerous, great place. I built great stuff there. I have the most beautiful building in Chicago, I think. But I hate to see what's happened to Chicago. Chicago is our greatest city, actually. Bob Tisch, a great friend of mine, passed away. He used to own the Giants and very successful Lowe's. He said Chicago I think they had their main office in Chicago. He said Chicago and San Francisco, the two greatest cities in the world. Now you look at what the Democrats have done to San Francisco. They've destroyed it. I own a big chunk of the Bank of America building in San Francisco. And, you know, it's just different. We can clean that up too. We'll clean that one up too. Now, if everything works out, and we've already had calls from other cities, quiet calls from Democrats. We'd love you to come here because they've lost control of their cities. I'm not going to say because I don't want them to lose their elections. But we've had calls from Democrats and calls from people generally. We'd love you to come here because we'll straighten out the problem.
So the president focused on public safety, and you've got Chicago residents who are, again, taking to the city council during public comment, saying that they want public safety, they want the illegal immigration stopped. And then you've got, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, who, when the president, a week and a half ago or so, had made similar comments when he announced, and this was 2 weeks ago, when he announced that the National Guard was going to be helping police the streets in D.C., he had signed an executive order then that would essentially say that the president's going to deploy National Guard in other areas. Then there's reporting over the weekend that there's a dozen plus states where this may be happening. But again, President Trump saying Chicago may be next. And here's Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson 2 weeks ago talking about this very issue and responding to being called incompetent.
How did you feel when Donald Trump called you incompetent? What did you feel?
All right, he just addressed this. Thanks.
Please answer that question. If you would.
Okay, fine. Since you are begging, I do believe that Donald Trump is intimidated. I think you're begging.
No interruption.
So let me just answer that. I do appreciate you begging. So I would just say it like this, that the president has always been intimidated by the intellectual prowess of black men. And so, of course, he would speak in those petite and puerile terms because he's small.
So Johnson, essentially doing ad hominem here, but you have the Johnson administration putting out a statement that says this, and let me pull this up so we can view it together and you can read it for yourself. But Mayor Brandon Johnson releases this statement essentially saying that we're in active communication with counterparts at the county and state level to prepare for any potential unconstitutional military deployments in Chicago. The governor, Cook County Board President, and I are complete alignment. Chicago is not calling for military occupation of our city. We're currently evaluating all our legal options to protect the people of Chicago from unconstitutional federal overreach. In Chicago, we have effectively reduced all forms of violent crime by doing what works: constitutional policing, violence prevention, and investing in our communities. This past year alone, we've seen a more than 30% reduction in homicides, 35% reduction in robberies, and almost 40% reduction in shootings. We need to keep building on this work. No matter what happens, the city of Chicago will not waver. We are Chicago. We will not bend or cower, and we will never break. And that, again, is Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson releasing that statement after you have the ongoing back and forth about public safety. Governor J.B. Pritzker also releasing a statement, but several weeks ago when the president was making the National Guard movements in Washington, D.C., making statements that he could go to Chicago next, even 2 weeks ago. Here's Governor Pritzker then responding to that.
There is a law on the books confirmed by the Constitution called posse comitatus. And it means that the federal government does not have a right to send soldiers into American cities for the purpose of, well, for any purpose really, but specifically to fight crime, let's say. And that is what he's suggesting that he will do, violate that law. It's not surprising to me that he suggests violating the law. He's done it many times and been convicted of it 34 times. And so I would just say he has absolutely no right and no legal ability to send troops in to the city of Chicago. And so I reject that notion.
And the governor releasing a statement also on this issue, but Friday he was asked about the issue of possibly having the National Guard come in or more federal enforcement of illegal immigration, and even some prospects that some people are saying these elected officials blocking federal officials from doing federal law enforcement could go and arrest those individuals blocking federal law enforcement.
Their threat to arrest me and the mayor of Chicago and other. No, they have not followed. Their threat to arrest me and the mayor of Chicago and other. No, they have not followed up. I mean, I'm sure that they're plotting in a room somewhere with Kash Patel and Pam Bondi to try to figure out some way to come after us. Honestly, I'm unafraid. I'm not daring them to do anything. I'm just saying they don't have a right to federal law and state law, separate endeavors, and they don't have a right to do the things that they're threatening to do. That hasn't stopped them sometimes, I hate to say, but I haven't heard anything further. It's been a couple of days, as you may have read, that since we responded to their latest threat.
And again, that was in reference more to the enforcement of federal immigration law, but clearly something that we're going to continue to be seeing unfold here in Illinois, and with the Trump administration making their moves, pretty fascinating, and we'll keep you posted on that and more. So again, go to thecentersquare.com and you can stay up to date with the latest. It's all right here with the Center Square. I'm Greg Bishop, and this is Illinois in Focus Daily.